Hello and welcome back to Universal Law Snippets. Today we are going to be talking about emotional time travel. I told you this was going to be a time travel-y kind of month. Before we dive too far in, I do want to apologize if you can hear any of the wind happening in the background. We are having some very extreme gusts here in Colorado. It's blizzardy and nice and chilly, but the show must go on. So here we go. So, emotional time travel. This is something that my husband and I have been talking a lot lately about music and emotions and how we as humans attach feelings to music. And it's really had me kind of going down this rabbit hole of like, what happens if we have a song that transports us back into time and we kind of just sit there. If we sit there too long, is it going to, shift the direction of our life? Do we start making decisions based on this? Or is it just like a temporary thing? And so I feel like it has a lot of really interesting things to consider. So before we begin, let's talk about music. Now, music is something that is very near and dear to a lot of people's hearts. My husband and both of my children are like super, super into music. They have music going in their headphones all the time, constantly in the car. My husband is constantly looking for new bands for when, he does any traveling or when he goes on a run or whatever. And so it's this constant topic of discussion in our house. As for me, I don't really listen to a lot of music. I'm more of an audiobook type of person or a podcast type of person. But of course, I do listen to it when we are in the car, and I kind of sort of try to keep up on everything. But over the years, I have tried to become like hyper aware of the music that I'm listening to, perhaps even learning some of the lyrics, which some lyrics very easy to pick up and know. Some of them I make up my own lyrics, which is probably horrifying to some people, but that's okay. But anyways, we got into this discussion about certain pieces of music and how they can take you back to a certain moment in your life. Music is a very powerful trigger for a lot of people, as is smell. And so when we have these senses that are, very real part of our body, it really strengthens our frequency that we are putting out into the universe, right? So our frequencies that we send out into the universe as humans are made up of our thoughts, our mental, our emotions, and then our physical bodies. So music or smells, either one, these can trigger something in our brains, and then we can feel something in our bodies too. It's a very interesting, fascinating phenomenon. That's why people use music therapy to help them work through post-traumatic stress disorders and different traumas and everything. And it's a really great thing. But we also have probably songs or lyrics or even musical triggers or smells that will take us back to moments in our life that are either really, really high vibe or maybe very, very traumatic for us and kind of put us in this state of not feeling so hot. When we are going, let me just give you a scenario, okay? So I am one of those people that I will get into the car and I will be driving along and I will focus on the road, and I usually have several other things going on in my head in the background, right? Like multitasking. It's not great, but it's kind of like those peripheral things, right? And one of those things that is a peripheral thing going usually is music. And if this song that is on the radio or on a playlist comes on that I know the words to, I'm going to be focusing on my driving, of course. And then I'm going to probably be singing along the words to the song if I know them. Now, usually probably not a really big deal for the most part, right? If I don't have any kind of past experiences, triggered or connected to that song, then I am sending out those words out into the universe coming from my voice, and there's no real major emotion attached to it. It's just kind of an off thing, right? It's just kind of going out there. However, I have found that I will be driving along and I will be singing something, and then I will catch myself and be like, whoa, I don't want to say those words. I don't want to put those words out into the universe. I don't want to be talking about, how terrible my relationship is, or how difficult life is, or whatever it is. And so I will stop and I will change the radio station. Okay. And that is because I've become hyper aware of my words in the last couple of years. I've just really made it like a very conscious effort to do that. And so I try to stop that, but it happens every once in a while, right? And so I was wondering, I was thinking about some of my old songs that I was listening to way back in the day when I was in high school, like in the 90s, okay? Which is definitely my genre of music, preferably alternative. But I would listen to one of those songs, it would come on in the background, and I would be singing along, and then I would begin to remember what was happening during that time. Like, oh, can I, what am I connecting to this song? Was I driving around with my sister in the car singing at the top of my lungs? Was I talking with my friends in the lunchroom about whatever? Do I associate that with a traumatizing math test or something that really upset me? What would I do that to? When we start singing along to songs and moving back into these feelings and emotions, we have to be very aware that we don't let them take us down a path for too long that is going to shift our frequency, right? Because it's one thing to say it, right? The universe is like, okay, cool, they're saying this, no big deal. But when we start actually attaching emotions to it, it kind of ups the frequency that is going out into the universe. So we don't want to live in that vibration too long. If we just do it for, a song, it's not going to be a big deal. But I've also, in the past have been listening to a song and I will be remembering things. And then 15 minutes later, I'm still thinking about that one time in high school where that person said that thing to me and it upset me so much. And all of a sudden we are 15, 20, 30 minutes, even an hour in that vibration where we are thinking something, we are feeling something. And, perhaps if it was a strong enough incident or event, maybe we're actually feeling something in our body. Maybe we're feeling that anxious feeling or that nervous feeling, or we remember being scared in that certain way. And I'm attaching this to the law of cause and effect because the one good thing about the universe is that we can't think, feel, or experience something in the body and then have it manifest immediately. It's thank goodness, right? We think that we want something immediately, but if we brought in everything that we were thinking all the time, it would kind of, at least in my experience, I have a really good imagination, it would not be so great, right? You have to think about sending it off from as you are this radio tower and you're sending it off into the distance. So when we're there in a moment and we are all aligned and we're like, oh man, that was such a terrible experience 10 years ago, and the song is bringing it up and that feels really bad. And then we switch the station. It's just kind of like a little blurb. It's like a little blurb out into the universe, and the universe is like, oh, okay, gotcha. That's not really going to shift your vibration that much. But when we sit in that consistently and we really feel into that feeling of nostalgia, it can start shifting events and it can start shifting our frequency long term. Nostalgia is the energetic equivalent of a chocolate chip cookie. Okay. It feels very nice and warm and comforting and it feels really good in the moment, but you don't want to be chowing down on it and experiencing it for too long because it's too much of a good thing, right? It's too much, too fast, and it's not going to be good for you long term. So emotional time travel is like a very interesting concept, and it's not something that you can really be jumping into and being like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to listen to a song again. Don't be like that, right? Like maybe some songs you're like, I really don't want to be manifesting that in my life. And if that is what I'm trying to manifest and what I'm singing along to is completely counterintuitive to what I'm trying to pull in, maybe switch your songs for a while there at that point. But this is for people to kind of think about and be aware of and kind of like let roll around in your mind and contemplate as you are trying to shift into that next identity, that next new version of yourself. Okay. And it's especially pertinent right now because we are moving from this year of the snake. If you're looking at Eastern astrology, Chinese astrology, we're moving from this year of the snake into this year of the horse, which is going to have a lot more momentum. It's a little bit more intense and everything. So this is just another one of those things for you to kind of chew on and be like, okay, maybe I don't want to listen to this song about whatever because I'm trying to do this. I'm just going to shed that like a little. You don't have to do it completely. You don't have to do it cold turkey or anything, but just kind of be aware of what is going on, because our brains, our subconscious, it's constantly taking in all of the input around us, and it's kind of programming us. It sounds very futuristic and like apocalyptic, but I mean that's just how the human brain is, right? Like it's just constantly associating everything around you and like putting it into your brain. And so you have to really try to be aware of what you're doing. And, if you want to think of music as another way to help you shift your identity, then this is something to mull over. If you think I'm completely wackadoo, that's fine too. These are things that I think of and I think might be helpful for someone out there if they are wanting to dive a little bit deeper and really get to those root causes and try to shift perhaps a little bit quicker than they normally would. Okay. So that is all I have for you today. Emotional time travel. Like what a fun concept, right? And I will see you guys next time. Bye.